Welcome back. Tonight we're exploring the unsettling reality behind a tool many of us trust, Find My iPhone. Designed for convenience, it can become a weapon in the wrong hands. The stories you'll hear are true accounts from people who found themselves in terrifying situations because of this technology. So turn down the lights and make sure your own phone is somewhere safe. Prepare for 3 chilling tales that will make you think twice about the technology you trust. Remember, every word is true and the horror is all too real. Tonight we delve into the chilling world where technology, meant to protect us, becomes a tool for terror. Our first story comes from Chloe, a bright and ambitious college student just like many of you. She was focused on her studies, burning the midnight oil to achieve her dreams. Little did she know, her ordinary routine was about to be shattered. One seemingly normal night, Chloe's ordinary night turned into a nightmare, a terrifying ordeal that would forever change her perception of safety and privacy. It's a story that highlights the vulnerability we all face in an increasingly connected world. After a particularly late study session in the library, Chloe packed up her things, ready to head back to her dorm. But as she reached into her bag, panic set in. Her phone was missing. She frantically searched her desk, retraced her steps, but it was nowhere to be found. Time was of the essence. With a growing sense of unease, she rushed back to her dorm room, grabbed her laptop, and logged into Find My iPhone. The app sprang to life, and there it was, a small blue dot representing her phone, moving through a nearby residential neighborhood. A wave of anger and determination washed over her. Determined to retrieve her stolen property and confront the thief, she knew she couldn't go alone. She quickly explained the situation to her roommate Ben, a loyal friend who didn't hesitate to offer his support. Together, armed with the laptop and a shared sense of apprehension, they followed the map, venturing into the darkness, hoping to catch the culprit red-handed. The digital trail led them deeper and deeper into a quiet suburban street, lined with houses shrouded in darkness. Finally, the map pinpointed a small, unassuming house. It was dark, save for a faint, flickering light emanating from within. An unsettling feeling settled over Chloe and Ben as they approached. They decided to observe the house from across the street, hidden in the shadows, trying to make sense of the situation. As they watched, the phone's location on the laptop screen suddenly shifted. The blue dot began to move again, but this time, it was heading directly toward their location. A chilling realization washed over them. Confused and increasingly scared, they understood that the person with the phone wasn't just moving randomly, they were actively tracking them, coming for them. The hunter had become the hunted. The map's dot continued its relentless approach until it stopped abruptly, right on top of their hiding spot. Chloe's blood ran cold. She felt a primal fear grip her heart, a sense of being completely exposed and vulnerable. How could the thief know exactly where they were, concealed in the darkness? It defied logic. Was it a coincidence, or was something far more sinister at play? Then, a horrifying thought struck her like a bolt of lightning. It hit her. The thief wasn't just using Find My iPhone to locate the device. They were exploiting her own shared location data, a feature she had unknowingly enabled to track her every move. The silence was broken by a chilling sound. The front door of the house creaked open, slowly, ominously. A tall, shadowy figure stepped onto the porch, their features obscured by the darkness. In their hand, they held up a phone, the Find My iPhone map glowing eerily on the screen, illuminating their face just enough to reveal a sinister smile. The figure let out a low, guttural, chilling laugh that echoed through the silent street, sending shivers down Chloe and Ben's spines. Then they started walking toward them, their footsteps heavy and deliberate, each step amplifying the terror. Instinct took over. Chloe and Ben didn't hesitate. They turned and ran, their hearts pounding in their chests, adrenaline coursing through their veins. They were chased by the heavy, relentless footsteps of the figure, their pursuer gaining ground with every stride, until they finally reached the relative safety of the campus grounds. Shaken to their core, they immediately reported the terrifying incident to campus security, recounting every detail of their ordeal. As the authorities launched an investigation, Chloe took immediate action, remotely wiping her phone, erasing all personal data and preventing the stalker from accessing any further information. Police swiftly arrived at the house and conducted a thorough search, but they found the house empty, a vacant rental property, devoid of any personal belongings or clues. There was no sign of the stalker, as if they had vanished into thin air. Chloe never saw the person's face clearly, the darkness and the fear obscuring their features. But the memory of that night, the chilling laugh, The feeling of being hunted haunted her every waking moment. In the aftermath, Chloe made drastic changes to her life. She changed her phone number, severing ties with her old contacts. She deleted her social media accounts, erasing her online presence. And she never felt truly safe in that city again, forever looking over her shoulder, haunted by the fear that the stalker was still out there. The experience served as a harsh and brutal lesson. The very tools we trust for safety and convenience can be twisted and turned against us, becoming instruments of fear and control in the wrong hands. Find My iPhone, an app designed to help us recover lost devices, had become a predator's tool, transforming Chloe from the hunter, seeking her lost phone, into the hunted, desperately trying to escape a terrifying pursuer. The stalker had likely been watching her for some time, meticulously planning their attack, observing her habits, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike, exploiting her digital vulnerabilities. Stealing her phone wasn't merely about acquiring the device itself, it was about gaining access to her personal information, establishing control over her life, and instilling a deep-seated fear that would linger long after the incident. Chloe's story is a chilling reminder. Every app we download, every shared location we enable, every bit of data we generate online can be exploited by those with malicious intent. She escaped with her life, physically unharmed, but the psychological scars of that night remain, a constant reminder of her vulnerability. Be careful about what you share online. Scrutinize the privacy settings of your apps, and be mindful of who you trust with your digital footprint. Your safety depends on it. In a world where we're always connected, constantly sharing our lives online, it's terrifyingly easy for someone to watch you from the shadows, gathering information, and waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and protect your privacy. Our next story comes from Mark, a tale that chills you to the bone. It's a story about a seemingly ordinary night that took a terrifying turn, a night where the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurred. It all began with a night out with friends, a concert filled with music and laughter, which unexpectedly turned into a nightmare. A series of unfortunate events would lead them down a path they would never forget. After the concert, as the crowd dispersed, Liam patted his pockets, only to realize his phone was missing. Panic set in. It wasn't just a phone, it was his connection to the world, filled with memories and important contacts. Desperate, they used Find My iPhone, the digital breadcrumbs leading them to a condemned warehouse on the desolate edge of town. The location sent shivers down their spines. It was a place whispered about in hushed tones, a place where shadows danced and secrets lingered. Despite their growing unease and the ominous feeling that something was terribly wrong, the group made the fateful decision to retrieve the phone. Loyalty and a sense of responsibility outweighed their fear, pushing them forward into the unknown. They slipped through a broken fence, the rusted metal groaning in protest as they trespassed onto forbidden ground. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of decay and the weight of unspoken dread. They entered the dark, cavernous building, flashlights cutting through the oppressive blackness, their beams trembling in their hands. Each step echoed through the vast emptiness, amplifying their fear and making them question their sanity. The warehouse was a labyrinth, a maze of rusted machinery, relics of a forgotten industry, now silent sentinels guarding the darkness, and shadows that danced in the periphery, playing tricks on their eyes, making them question what was real and what was imagined. Guided by the relentless signal of the app, they found Liam's phone, placed with unnerving precision on a lone chair in the very center of the room. It was a stage, and the phone was the star of a macabre performance, its screen glowing with an eerie luminescence, as if it were patiently waiting for their arrival, beckoning them closer to a sinister fate. The setup felt profoundly wrong, a carefully orchestrated scene that screamed of malice. This wasn't a simple case of a lost phone, it was a meticulously crafted trap, a lure for unsuspecting prey. Suddenly, a deafening clang shattered the silence, the sound reverberating through the warehouse like a death knell, echoing behind them. The door they'd entered, their only known escape route, was now blocked by a hulking figure, a dark silhouette against the faint light, an imposing guardian of their impending doom. Panic erupted, primal and overwhelming. The friends scattered like mice, desperately seeking refuge among the towering machinery, their hearts pounding in their chests. The figure stalked them relentlessly, a predator in its domain, dragging a heavy metal pipe that scraped against the concrete floor, each scrape a chilling reminder of their vulnerability. Mark, fueled by adrenaline and desperation, grabbed a discarded pipe and hurled it towards the intruder, hoping to distract him, buying them precious seconds to plan their escape. He quickly regrouped with Jessica and Liam, their faces pale with terror, and together they frantically searched for any sign of an exit, any glimmer of hope in the suffocating darkness. Finally, they stumbled upon a cracked window, a fragile barrier between them and freedom. Without hesitation, they smashed it open, the sound of shattering glass a symphony of desperation. They scrambled out, heedless of the jagged shards of glass that tore at their skin, leaving bloody trails in their wake. Escape was their only priority. They ran to the car, their legs burning, their lungs screaming for air, and sped away, leaving the nightmare behind, never daring to look back. At the police station, shaken and bruised, they recounted their harrowing experience, but their story was met with skepticism and disbelief. The warehouse was empty when officers arrived, eerily silent and devoid of any evidence to support their claims. There was no sign of the hulking figure, no trace of the phone, just the broken window, a silent testament to their terror. The trap had been meticulously reset, the stage prepared for the next unsuspecting victim to stumble into its deadly embrace. Mark and his friends never recovered the phone, a small price to pay for their lives, but the psychological scars remained, a constant reminder of the horrors they had faced. They never returned to that part of town, forever haunted by the memory of the abandoned warehouse and the lurking darkness within. Sometimes what's lost is better left unfound, especially when the price of finding it is your sanity or even your life. Our final story comes from David, a man who valued his peace and quiet. He lived alone in a quiet suburb, a place where neighbors waved hello and the loudest sound was usually the chirping of crickets. He felt safe, secure, and content in his little corner of the world. One night, that sense of security was shattered. He was jolted awake, not by a nightmare, but by something far more real and terrifying. The piercing, unmistakable sound of the Find My iPhone chime. It was a sound he knew well, a sound usually reserved for misplaced keys or a forgotten phone under the couch cushions. His phone was right there, on the nightstand, its screen dark and silent. But the sound echoed from downstairs, clear as a bell, cutting through the stillness of the night. It was definitely coming from somewhere else in the house. Confused and unnerved, a chill running down his spine, he strained his ears. He heard the chime again, this time unmistakably from the living room. What could possibly be happening? Was someone in his house? David, heart pounding in his chest, slowly and cautiously crept down the stairs, each creak of the wooden steps amplifying the silence and the growing sense of dread. He grabbed the first thing he could find, a heavy glass paperweight from his desk, clutching it tightly for protection. It was a poor substitute for a weapon, but it was better than nothing. In the darkness of the living room, illuminated only by the faint glow of the streetlights filtering through the curtains, he saw a man sitting on his couch, facing away from him, casually holding a phone. The intruder, seemingly oblivious to David's presence, triggered the chime again, the sound echoing mockingly through the house, a digital siren in the dead of night. It was a bizarre and terrifying scene. The man slowly turned his head, his face emerging from the shadows, revealing a wide, malicious grin illuminated by the phone's eerie glow. It was a face David had never seen before, a face that radiated pure malice. It was David's mother's phone, the phone that had been stolen from her earlier that day during a brazen purse snatching at the local grocery store. He recognized the floral phone case instantly. The intruder had used the Find My iPhone feature to track David's mother's phone, leading him directly to David's address, where he proceeded to break in, turning a simple theft into a terrifying home invasion. The chime became more than just a sound. It was a taunt, a weapon, a psychological game designed to instill fear and control. David, paralyzed by fear for only a moment, finally bolted upstairs, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He barricaded himself in his bedroom, pushing furniture against the door, creating a makeshift barrier, and frantically called 911. The intruder, now enraged, laughed, a chilling guttural sound that echoed through the house, then pounded on the door with relentless force, trying to break through the flimsy barrier. Just as the door began to splinter and crack under the relentless assault, the sound of approaching police sirens wailed outside, growing louder with each passing second. The man, realizing his time was up, fled into the night, leaving the stolen phone behind on the living room floor. Its data completely wiped clean, a ghost of its former self. Despite an extensive investigation, the police never caught him. He vanished without a trace, leaving behind only fear and unanswered questions. David's sense of safety and security was irrevocably shattered. He could no longer live in that house, haunted by the memory of what had happened. He sold his house and moved to a new city, hoping to start over. But the memory of that night, the chilling chime, the malicious grin, the feeling of utter helplessness, never left him. It was a constant reminder of the fragility of safety and the darkness that lurks just beneath the surface of everyday life. Sometimes, the technology we trust most, the devices we rely on for convenience and connection, can become the very thing that puts us in danger, turning our homes into targets and our lives into nightmares. Technology connects us, but it can also expose us to unseen dangers. The tools we use to find what's lost can become instruments of fear. Be cautious with your digital footprint, what you share, and who can access it. A lost phone is an inconvenience, but in the wrong hands, it can become a weapon. Stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and remember, sometimes it's safer not to follow the trail. If you enjoyed these stories, like, subscribe, and share your own true horror tales below. Thank you for watching, and as always, sleep tight if you can.